Hello, this is Jamie with Supplier News, and this is your small business news for May 4th, 2021. But before we get into it, definitely want to make sure that everyone subscribes to the channel if you like the content. Leave a like on the video, leave a comment, and also share with other people you think may be interested in this content. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So for today, we've got 5 pieces of news. A little bit more than what we typically have, but that's okay. We'll go through each topic and talk about why it's important for small businesses to understand this information. First up, Restaurant Revitalization Fund prioritizes women and veteran-owned small businesses. This information has been everywhere over the past week. I definitely wanted to talk about that here. Fifth Third surpasses $32 billion within their 5-year commitment. So we'll talk about that and what that means for small businesses. 5 recovery strategies for small businesses as well, concerning everything that's going on right now. Going to cover a couple, and definitely if you want to know more, check out our Supplier News website. Corporate tax hike will hit over 1 million small businesses, with the recent plan for the corporate tax hike to increase from 21 to 28%. We're going to talk about, under the new Biden plan, we're going to talk about how that may affect small businesses. And then lastly, local government should step up in support of small businesses, which I think we can all agree on, regardless of when, what's going on. All right. So first up, once again, the point that has been everywhere over the past week, which is Restaurant Revitalization Fund prioritizes women and veteran-owned small businesses. As you can see here, the SBA announced that the $28.6 billion Restaurant Revitalization Fund would prioritize businesses owned by veterans, women, and economically and socially disadvantaged individuals. The agency also allocated $9.5 billion for smaller firms. This application did open a couple of days ago, so May 3rd. I do have a link in the description below if you want to go ahead and apply for this fund. But as you can see, the program's main piece of a purpose is to provide restaurants with funding equal to their pandemic-related revenue loss, up to $10 million per business and no more than $5 million per physical location. So, if you have, especially over the past year or so, you have seen losses in your business, and it's something that you can prove, definitely check this out if you're a restaurant, bar, anything of that type. I do know it's been a tough year for a lot of these type of organizations, and I do think that this is something that needs to be looked into. It needs to be, or it needs to make sure that people are informed about this. So check this out. Once again, the link is in the description below. Next up, a little bit of good news here. Fifth Third surpasses $32 billion 5-year commitment with the National Community Reinvestment Coalition. So, as you can see here, in 2016, Fifth Third Bank pledged $32 billion to invest in their community, and they actually hit over $40 billion in lending and investments, right? So congratulations to Fifth Third Bank. The pledge included mortgage lending, small business lending, and community development loans and investments. If you want to see kind of what those numbers are, and we go a little bit more into specifics, check out suppliertnews.com and that article, which is in the description below as well. Fifth Third also delivered $378 million in impact programming. And topped its pledge provided $213.2 million in additional housing and small business technical assistance. It also spent over $18 million in supplier diversity spending, increasing that to $75 million in 2020. So, as you can see here, Fifth Third Bank over the past 5 years is really, in terms of their commitment to supporting small businesses, has really stayed committed in those goals. So, congratulations to Fifth Third. They're clearly doing what they can to support these types of businesses, and it's something that I think we can all support. Okay, next up, 5 recovery strategies for small businesses. So, from time to time, we do lists as well, as it pertains to Supplier News. So this one obviously is 5 ways that small businesses can recover with different strategies. Excuse me. So a couple of the strategies that we have here. Number 1 is that creating multiple streams of income and seeking funding advice, or seeking funding in advance, I should say. I apologize. So creating multiple income streams is something that we've actually talked about on this channel before. I've done a video or two about how you can potentially do that. But definitely keep that in mind. You always want multiple sources of income. So if one of those sources does decrease, or something like the pandemic happens, you do still have money coming in. And then lastly, seek funding in advance. In order to secure funding, you want to make sure that you don't need it at especially again, the pandemic is a really excellent time. You want to make sure that you qualify for opportunities before you need them, because if you try to reach out when you need them, it may be too late, and the time frame may not give you enough time to get that funding and then do what you need to do with it. So just kind of being proactive, right? Even when it comes to creating multiple income streams, right? Make sure that you have those income streams created before a decrease in another income stream. So stay proactive, as well as make sure that you're getting different incomes from different places. Next up, the corporate tax hike will hit over 1 million small businesses. So this is from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Pretty interesting. They speak about the tax hike that Biden proposed from 21% to 28%. But what they're talking about here is that the reason why it will hit a lot of small businesses with less than 500 employees is because a lot of these businesses are C corporations under the federal tax code. So this is in danger of hurting 13 million Americans across various sectors, because they are employed by small businesses, with more than 84% of them having more than 84% of the small businesses having fewer than 20 employees. It's hard to say right now because, as we all know, the initiative that the president has suggested isn't going to pass anytime soon. Based off of reports, it looks as if things will be open this summer throughout America. So by the time that this tax code actually hits, it's probably going to be at best late this year, most likely sometime next year. So when it'll hit, while they do use the pandemic as a reason why it may affect small businesses, the truth is that we're most likely going to be out of the pandemic, or we will be out of the pandemic by the time this even goes into existence, if it does, which I'm still skeptical about. It's pretty interesting because we did just drop from 35% to 21% in 2017 due to the Trump tax cuts. So and there were hires based off of that, but in addition to that, where we're at today is we are seeing small businesses needing to hire employees, and are actually offering more money than, in some cases, offering more money than their average their counterparts that are larger businesses. So stating that this is going to potentially hit over a million small businesses, while that may be true, to the extent what that means, it still remains to be seen. Obviously, any tax increase is going to have a negative effect for small businesses, who a lot of times have very, very small margins. But it's still hard we still need to kind of understand from the long-term perspective what that means. So obviously something to think about, something that we do have to take note. But I am skeptical in terms of the extent to which this will reach, and it's something that we still need to understand. All right. Lastly, local governments should step up in support of small businesses, something that I always agree with. So it talks about the loans that was given out, so $923 billion for small business loans and advances. But despite this, 25 to 30% of small firms remain closed at the beginning of 2021. Just to be clear, this means that they're closed. It doesn't mean that they're out of business just yet. The federal government has done a lot to support small businesses as it relates to giving them funding. But as you can see here, there is a belief that now it is time for cities and states to do their part. So there's a couple of pieces. They call it the ARP kind of model, if you will. Avert the further destruction of small businesses, reassess small business recovery outcomes and ongoing needs, and then prioritize investments in the small business ecosystem. So we do break down what each of those pieces mean on suppliertnews.com, so definitely check that out. But once again, just giving suggestions on how local governments can support small businesses, which is something that we will always agree with here. Okay. So with all that being said, as always, thank you so much for joining us and checking us out. Make sure you subscribe to the video, to the channel if you lasted this long, which we really appreciate. Like the video, leave a comment, and share with other people who you think may be interested in this content. Okay. With that being said, thank you so much, and have a great day.